Hello, everyone, and welcome on into the Betting Pros podcast. I'm your host, Thomas Viola, and today we are talking about the UEFA Champions League final. It is the Super Bowl of soccer, and so we have to bring on a true expert. You can hear it just from his accent. He knows what he's doing. Nigel Staley of Bet Rivers. Nigel, how are you doing?
I'm very well, Tom. I don't know about my accent. My accent's a London accent. This is a Liverpool accent against the capital of Spain. Shall I go a bit more Spanish? There's a very good, nice football for me, or shall I go a bit Liverpool? I like there, mates. We're going to go there for Liverpool today.
It surely shows the American accent. I don't hear the difference between the Liverpool and the London.
You don't? How, honestly?
It doesn't come across to us the same way. It's like we don't have the same ear for it. It's kind of like how, I don't know, I don't think a California and New Jersey accent sound overall that much too different to you, do they?
Well, it's funny, really, because the Liverpool accent is probably one of the most sort of broadest accents that you can possibly hear, this defining accent. So, if someone would ask me a question, where am I from? They probably know it's from the south of England, wouldn't know from London specifically. But Liverpool accent, straight away, the guys from Liverpool. So, yeah, I'm very interested, but it was a bad Liverpool accent, though. Let's be fair, Tom. It wasn't a very good one. So don't worry about that.
I just don't have the ear for him. I guess I just need to spend more time across the pond. I think that's the best solution.
Sure.
I do need to make a trip out, but of course, Liverpool versus Real Madrid in the final. I am full on the Real Madrid train for several reasons. Number one being I'm an Everton fan, so of course I can't stand to see Liverpool hoisting any trophies, but I also have a little bit of juice riding on this game already. I have Real Madrid to win the trophy. I stand to win a little bit of money there. I've managed to create a nice little parlay. The first three legs hit, and so now I'm just waiting on that. I'm excited. Who do you think right off the bat is hoisting the trophy?
To be honest with you, Tom, it's a real difficult betting this conundrum to solve. The one thing I would say, the value is definitely Real Madrid.
Yeah.
I don't believe for 1 minute that Liverpool and Real Madrid are that much different from the odds that suggest that we're coming into this final with. For me, watching Premier League football week in and week out and watching Liverpool and sort of looking at the psychology of football as well, I look at a lot about the psychology of football, and I break things down a little bit different from just actually looking at results. Liverpool have looked a very, very tired side over the last few weeks. They've been involved in so many competitions domestically. They won the FA Cup over 120 minutes in extra time, went to penalties. They won the Carabao Cup against Chelsea. High-intensity games, big games. They've gone through big European games as well, and they've had a title run which has lasted all the way to the final day of the season. And also, emotionally, they thought at one stage they were going to win the title because they felt that Manchester City were losing 2-0 against Aston Villa and thought they scored a third. So it's been a really, really, really long, hard season. And then throw into the mix as well, halfway through the season, Mane and Salah, their two best players, arguably more offensive players, have both been at the African Cup of Nations. You've got the Copa America. You've got the European Championships as well last summer. Liverpool have looked tired. If you look at the data of Liverpool, the analytical data of them, they haven't run so much over the last few matches. Salah doesn't look fit to me. Robertson went off in the FA Cup final. Van Dijk went off in the FA Cup final. And they look a side to me that are completely running on empty coming into the biggest game of the season. Klopp could, if any manager could motivate a side and get everybody completely pumped, then Jurgen Klopp is certainly that man. But just from the evidence of the games coming into the final stretch of the Premier League, Liverpool aren't the same Liverpool as we saw in the early part of the season. September, October, November, they were flying. They're not that side. Real Madrid, on the other hand, have won the title. They've had 2 weeks. Carlo Ancelotti and his teammates were smoking cigars on the top of the bus, celebrating with the title. They've had 2 weeks off against mediocre opposition. They've been able to rest players, they've been able to get players back from fitness, and they look like, someone said it's very important. The cup, not the best teams win cups. The best teams win leagues. There's freak results happen in cups. And to be fair, Real Madrid will come here and think, how on earth have we got to Paris this weekend? They were outplayed against Paris Saint-Germain for long periods of that game. They were completely outplayed for Chelsea in the second leg. And what Man City, the capitulation happened to Man City will never happen again. So they're extremely lucky to be here. But I feel that sometimes someone's name is on the cup And I can see why you bet Real Madrid, because I think there is no difference. I mean, if you look at the betting on it, everyone just expects Liverpool to win this competition. I don't think it's going to be as easy as that.
Guys, I want to talk to you for a minute about Sleeper. It's the fastest growing fantasy platform today with millions of players, and it's a game-changing product unlike anything else in the industry. And now, you could win on Sleeper by playing their new over-under game. It's super simple. First, in any sport, choose 2 or more players that you like and pick the over-under. For example, number of points in a basketball game or hits in a baseball game. Then choose the amount of money you want to enter into the contest. If you pick correctly, you could win anywhere from 2 to over 20 times the amount of money you put in. The main reason I'm excited about over-under on Sleeper is that it's the only app where I can join my buddies' contests and play together. It's got a built-in group chat where I can talk trash and copy my friends' picks with the tap of a button. It's insanely easy and fun to ride it out together. So stop what you're doing and download Sleeper now to play their new over-under game. Have fun with your friends and make some money. On your mobile phone, join our listener group on Sleeper at sleeper.com/bettingpros, and Sleeper will automatically match your first deposit up to $100. Again, just go to sleeper.com/bettingpros and you'll get a $100 match on your first deposit. If you want to follow me on that match, use Jalen Brunson under 19.5 points. Terms and conditions apply. See sleeper.com for details. I completely agree with you here. I mean, when I looked at the odds, Liverpool plus 110 at BetRivers, Real plus 255, the draw at plus 270 through 90 minutes. I'll get into that in a second. But that line just seems so mind-blowing to me. Obviously, all the values on Real Madrid here. These teams are really quite evenly matched when it comes to talent. Karim Benzema is playing like the best player in the world right now. Like you said, Liverpool is coming in this game tired. I was honestly surprised to see them favored by this much.
Well, let me tell you one thing. If you can get plus 110 Liverpool to win in 90 minutes now, you want to take it, because the money in England now is all coming for Liverpool, which you would expect. And that will filter into the US market. I expect Liverpool to start this game at evens, plus $1, potentially even minus money. There is money coming from the Far East. There's money coming in for Liverpool now. So if you got that plus 110, if you want to bet a Liverpool supporter, take it. For Real Madrid bettors, I would hold fire. Hang on to your slip. Wait till the last minute, because I think you're going to get a much better price, much better, more juice in your price. For me, when it gets to these major finals, I mean, we've had 2 major finals in this country this season. Both of them ended in draws. We had a very low-scoring Europa Conference final that could have quite easily been a draw a couple of nights ago. And I feel that the draw here represents the best value in 90 minutes. I think this is going to be a long game. To get plus 275 or 270 the draw seems ludicrous to me. The one thing both these sides have got is goals. The goals is where this, I don't think we're going to sit and watch another 0-0. I think both sides are going to go all out to score goals. Both defences are probably their weakest link, but they're still fantastic, but the defence is their weakest link, but their biggest ability is their strength in attack. And I believe that both managers only know how to play football in one way, and I think we've got a very good final. But I would think it could be a goal-scoring draw, and then that really helps your Real Madrid ticket. I don't know if your bet, Tom, was on the Real Madrid to win in 90 minutes or was to lift the trophy. But I think if you're going to be a Real Madrid better, you've got to bet Real Madrid to lift the trophy rather than bet them to win in 90 minutes, because I think the draw is a big, big runner here.
That is exactly what I was thinking about this game. It feels like one of those games that's going to go into extra time to me, especially with the way Real Madrid has played this season. They've saved it for late in the Champions League. I took them to just lift the trophy. I got them plus 140 to do that. At BetRivers, they are still plus 140 to lift the trophy. Liverpool minus 175 there. And real quick, for maybe some of our inexperienced soccer bettors listening to this, a quick explanation on the difference here. If you're betting the full-time bet, it's what's called a 3-way bet. You can bet Liverpool, you can bet Real Madrid, or you can bet the draw. Now, it's a Champions League final. There has to be a winner. What the draw means is after 90 minutes, if the teams are tied and go to overtime, your bet is over. If you bet the draw, you win. If you bet one of the sides, you lose. If you bet to win the trophy, you're eliminating any sort of worry there. You are just betting on which team is going to be hoisting the trophy at the end of the night, as the name implies. And you don't have to worry if they win it in extra time or regular time. That can be a little bit confusing for some people who are first-time soccer bettors.
It's probably been the biggest question I've had in my DMs ever since Where Did You Get Your Haircut? I think that's the big question that a lot of people ask me all the time. They're going to understand the 90-minute betting rule. How did I my bet was graded as a loser? Well, 90 minutes is exactly what it says. At the full-time regulation time, when the whistle was blown, if the game is a draw and goes into extra time, that market closes and a new market reforms to win the trophy. To win the trophy, it's always good to bet win the trophy if you like the dog. I think it's the best. If you like the favourite, get the favourite done in 90 minutes, not the favourite to win, because your odds decrease. But so that brings in penalty shootouts, that brings in extra time, or winning extra time, and that's pretty much what Real Madrid have done a couple of times this season in games against Chelsea and Manchester City. They've done it in extra time.
Exactly. I mean, the thing that worries me the most about this Real Madrid team is the fact that they have waited so late. They have been the comeback kids. They've been down in most of their Champions League games and had to come back. If Liverpool can score first, would you be thinking about a Real Madrid in-game, or is 90 minutes just not enough time when you have that second leg that has come into play in all the other games that you don't have here for Real?
Well, I think it's an interesting thing you said, because I looked at a couple of props that Bet Rivers had up on the website, and in a game that I expect goals, I think my biggest bet would be over 2.5 goals. We might come on to that in a minute, but I think I do expect goals here. So any goal angle, I think, is value. Over 2.5, over 3.5, both teams to score. Yes, you can do in-game parlays. You can max them all. The same game parlays, you can max them all up. But I think here we've got goals, and Carlo Ancelotti is the manager of Real Madrid. He was the manager of AC Milan in that game in Istanbul where Liverpool were 3-0 down at halftime and come back. There's a prop they have here where a side goes in the lead at one stage in the game and the other team win. I think that's the kind of game we're going to see. I think we're going to have a basketball soccer match. So I like Liverpool to win after falling behind, which is $9, and Real Madrid to win after falling behind is $13. So I think if you can bet both of those for a very, very small stakes, bit of pizza money on those, I think you're going to have a good run for your money, because I feel that's the kind of game we're going to see. I don't think we're going to see European Cup finals before. You see the team go 1-0 up, they've sat back and defended, let the opposition come onto them. You can't do that in this game. Game, if one team goes 1-0 up, the other team are going to throw everything at them, and they will likely score. So you're going to, in play, you're going to have a very nice ticket, because I don't see one team just sitting on a 1-0 lead and winning 1-0. I think if it goes 1-0 early, it'll be 1-1, then it'll be 2-1, and 3-1, and we could have a great game. So that's a nice little parlay I like. But I think the angle really for any neutral watching this game, anybody coming here looking for betting for the very first time, I think you're going to, on soccer betting, I think we're going to see goals. So I think if we can make you a nice in-play parlay or a same match parlay here with the goals market, because the goals markets are very low, that would be your best interest.
Yeah, that is one thing that's really different about most cup finals versus what we're kind of expecting here. A lot of the times you're expecting these to be cagey matches. Both teams are really playing not to lose. They play more defensive ball. Neither of these teams really likes to do that, and it's reflected in the market. 2.5 goals is -139 at Bet Rivers right now. We're expecting goals in this game. We're expecting this one to probably hit the over.
Yeah, but that's also sometimes when you expect so much, you always get disappointed. So I think that could be an in-play bet. I mean, a lot of stuff I do is in-play. I mean, I probably wouldn't bet the -139 now, but I'd probably wait to about 15, 20 minutes. And if that hit -110 or it hit even money, then I'd probably play, because I feel once we get one goal here, they are going to just explode, and I think we're going through a real exciting game. So at -139, I probably wouldn't play, but I would certainly throw that into the mix with a couple of parlays in the match and a couple of markets I like. I mean, if we look at Liverpool, for example, Liverpool have conceded in this competition a lot of goals, unfamiliar lot of goals. They conceded 3 against Benfica. They conceded 2 against Atletico Madrid. They conceded against Inter Milan. They conceded against AC Milan. In their last 4 Premier League games, regular Premier League games, they conceded in all 4 against Tottenham. Well, admittedly, Tottenham, Harry Kane and Son are the best formation in the Premier League, in my opinion. But they conceded against Aston Villa. They conceded against Wolves. They conceded against Southampton, who were going through a torrid time. And now they're playing arguably up against one of the best offensive units in European football, with a striker in Karim Benzema, who's at the top of his game, who's probably the favourite to win the Ballon d'Or this year. And that's going to be quite hard for them to shut that down. And Benzema's always been a great player, but he lacked a bit of confidence. He lacked confidence at Real Madrid because he had Ronaldo with him. Once Ronaldo's gone, he's the main man, and suddenly he's now playing to his full potential. So I think that both teams will score here. I think we can throw in a couple of high scoring. I like correct scores. I like 1-1. I like 2-2. That kind of stuff. I think it's going to be a real good, entertaining game. But the other prop I like is the on the bookings. Bet Rivers have cars on bookings. I do a lot of work on booking markets. It's my second, but I bet primarily on the teams to win. After that, I bet on overs and unders of goals. And my third market would be bookings. I don't really look at goal scorers very much because they're all done from algorithms. They're all done by computer-generated things that are quite very hard to beat. But referees, I quite look at referees, and I try to break down the science of how a referee thinks. The referee here is Clément Turpin, a French referee. He doesn't really give many bookings. His average is 3.68 cards this season in all his matches. And when you break down the 4 high-profile matches he's refereed, he refereed Chelsea against Real Madrid, and he gave 2 bookings. He refereed West Ham against Seville in the Europa League, which was a real high-intensity game, hostile atmosphere. He gave 3 bookings. He refereed Dortmund against Rangers in the Europa League, gave 2 bookings. And he refereed Italy against North Macedonia in the game that Italy were eliminated from the World Cup in qualification, and he only gave 1 booking. So in the real high-profile games, this guy talks to me. He's a lawyer by trade. He would rather give you a good telling off and a good talking to and stamp his authority down rather than giving you a card. And when you look at Liverpool's history in Champions League finals, or recent history in Champions League finals, I know it doesn't really mean much from a few years back to what it is now. But when Liverpool played Tottenham in an all-England English Champions League final, there wasn't a card. There was no yellow card. And when they played Real Madrid a few years back in the Champions League final, there was only 1 yellow card. I think these two sides will pay each other so much respect from footballing respect, rather than rolling on the floor, rather than, if you see the Italian side playing against the Spanish side, I think they're all trying to get a gamesmanship, one-upmanship, and try to get the referee on side. I don't think this is the case. I think this is a set of players with 2 managers that like teams to get up, get on with it, play football. So I think for the parlay, we're going to throw in under 4.5 cards in this game. So over 2.5 goals, or both teams to score, yes. Under 4.5 cards, throw that into the second leg of the parlay to boost up your odds.
There you go. That is really a market that a lot of people don't necessarily think of because it doesn't exist. You can't bet the number of flags thrown in a football game or the number of penalties in a hockey game. It's not something that people really think about that they can go and bet on. But in soccer, it's such an untapped market where you can find some potential.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, it's probably over here. It's one of our big markets. The referee, because you look at it's quite an interesting market because you look at the average of the referee, you look at the average of the team, and then you take into consideration the high profile of the game. And I always like going overs and second legs of football matches, not first legs. First legs are quite cagey, pay respect, and suddenly second legs, everything goes crazy. Then average doesn't mean anything. But I just look at the high. I know this guy's giving bookings and yellow cards and red cards in other games. But when you look at the high profile matches, he seems a rather sensible chap. So I don't think he's going to be dishing out those cards with regularity as you would expect in other games.
Which is a good thing to see. I mean, how many times we saw in the Liverpool-Tottenham Champions League final, it wasn't necessarily a card, but that handball penalty at the beginning of the game kind of ruined the entire thing. We got the penalty kick and it finished 1-0 after that. And it took the entire air out of it. It's great when the ref doesn't play a huge part.
Exactly.
Guys, real quick, remember when you're looking for free picks and sports betting advice, bettingpros.com has you covered with tips from over 150 experts to make it easy for you to cash out. Download the app to get sports betting alerts. You'll get notified of favorable bets based on line movements, consensus picks from the most accurate experts, and vetted systems in play. Betting Pros monitors all of the major sports books, most accurate experts, and top systems to identify the best betting opportunities. So download today in the Apple or Google Play stores. Now, I know that you're not too big on the players to score market, but there is one guy that we have to bring up. We've already brought him up plenty here. It is Karim Benzema. You're only getting him around plus 140, 130 or so to score a goal at any time. But I was thinking of sprinkling something on him at plus 450 to be the last goal scorer. How many times have we seen him pull off these heroics so far in this Champions League run? I think there might actually be a tiny bit of value on that because he's most likely going to find the back of the net in this game. I think that he's going to be the guy that comes up in that clutch moment and maybe seals the deal.
Well, he's the obvious choice. He's the top goal scorer in the competition.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could never understand why people don't bet the last goal scorer rather than the first goal scorer. Because if you make your play, then it's and there's a goal in 10 minutes. You're sitting there for 80 minutes with no voucher, no ticket, no interest. But at least if you bet the person to score the last goal, you've got a voucher that runs quite a lot. So I'm always surprised by that. I don't like the favourites, and I've made my point about it. I think they're artificially low because I feel that the public bet them. It's a big game. Benzema is a big player. You would expect him to turn up, but I don't think you're going to get much value. I look for alternatives against the favourites, and the one I like at a really big price. I think you're looking at a game there could be. I think Real Madrid concede a lot of goals from set pieces. If you look at their set pieces, they don't really defend set pieces very well. Free kicks into the box, corner kicks, they don't defend at all well. And at a big price, I think the Liverpool defender Konate I think he's a huge price. I think he's 14-1 to score any time. Well, this guy scored in both games against Benfica. He scored against Manchester City in the FA Cup. He's a big game player, and a lot of goals in big matches come from set plays and defenders going up for corners. The big players like the Benzema's and the big players like Salah usually are marked completely out of the game where they don't get a touch. They might get touched late on when tired legs come in, which I can understand why your last play is. But I feel that we might look for something. I would always rather look for a little bit of a value play. And the other one I think is probably a good play is Luis Diaz. I think Salah looks tired. Mm-hmm. I don't think he looks fit. I don't believe he'll play the whole 90 minutes. He might not even start. I think he might come on with 20 minutes to go. I don't think he's fit. But Luis Diaz from Liverpool, he's got so much pace. I've never seen a player for many years come into the Premier League and make a bigger impact than him. I think he's just adjusted straight away. On the break, he's frightening. And I feel that as the game goes late on, Luis Diaz could be an alternative for the anytime goal scorer or the last goal scorer.
There you go. You can get him for last goal scorer right now, plus 750 at Bet Rivers. Konate is 11-1 to be an anytime goal scorer. There's some value there. You can only be so wrong at 11-1, right?
I'd rather bet that than a very low price on Benzema. I would. I just look for a value. I think you're playing a novelty market. I think you got to have everything to go for you. If you look at Benzema's goal scoring stats and his record, a lot of them against a lot weaker opposition than Liverpool. So you've got to take that into account. If you look at his goal per game average, a lot of it is in the Spanish league. We're playing a lot of teams where Real Madrid are 2-goal favourites, 2.5-goal favourites to win. In the big matches, Benzema, up until this season, hasn't really turned up. But he's a very different player. He's going to be around. I like your idea of taking the last goal. But for me, I look for alternatives. Konate and Diaz.
Yeah, it can be tough. Like your true value on a player to score a goal. I'm never going to take someone anytime goal scorer when it's plus 140, something like that, like Benzema is in this game. There aren't enough goals in soccer to make that a valuable play. You're not getting your money's worth.
When Harry Kane plays for or Son plays for Tottenham, when they score 70% of their goals, you can bet Harry Kane against Burnley at plus 110 or at even money. That's a bet. In the Champions League final, Liverpool against Real Madrid, to bet a player like Benzema at plus 125 with some books plus 140, that's no bet for me. You bet those players to score when they play against a team in the bottom half of La Liga or the Premier League, and then you'll be picking up cash.
Want to track all of your wagers in one place? Check out the Betting Pros Pick Tracker at bettingpros.com/pick tracking. It syncs up with your sports books to tally which picks hit, which miss, and gives you a live look at what the public is doing, so you can use real-time tracking to determine which plays to make and which to fade. Get on the leaderboard and quickly become a sharp by using the free advice we offer at bettingpros.com/pick tracking. Nigel, my last question for you here. Who is hoisting the trophy? You got to tell us.
I'm going to go for Real Madrid to win it. And I'm going to go for Real Madrid to win it on the penalties. I think Liverpool have rode their luck on penalties. I think they've won 2 penalty shootouts against Chelsea. And I think Real Madrid will just have a bit too much. I think their name's on the trophy, on their performances and how they've got out of jail all the way through. And I think they'll probably just edge it. That's a purely value play. I think from value perspective, a tight one, draw in 90 minutes, Real Madrid to win it after extra time and pens.
I'm here for that to happen. And with Carlo Ancelotti coaching this Real Madrid team, if they do win, I am counting that as an Everton win over Liverpool in this spot.
I was going to say that's the only time an Everton shirt will be in the Champions League final show for the next 50 years, Tom. So you've done something for Everton there.
Hey, we're still in the Premier League. That is all I will take. It's all I can ask for this season. It's been a sorry state of affairs for us. Nigel, thank you so much for joining me today. Where can people find you and the awesome work you're doing?
Yeah, you can find me on my Twitter account is @Seeley_Nigel, and obviously working for Bet Rivers now, providing all the content, which you're doing a brilliant job along with Taylor on the MLS show. So check that out. I've been following you guys religiously, making a few quid. So, yeah, you can follow us on the Bet Rivers Network on the YouTube show or download any of the shows that Tom is involved as well on the podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you for plugging my show as well. And guys, if you want to sign up for a Bet Rivers account today, use the code 250MATCH. They will match your first deposit up to $250. So get on that now. Nigel, thank you so much for joining me. Guys, best of luck in the Champions League final and beyond. Let's cash some tickets.